This is Will Lockwood from Pharmacy Technology and Management Review. And in today's podcast, I am speaking with Karen Davis and Ismail Fenni, and we're going to be talking about DAA's cloud based educational training software designed for pharmacy technician training programs. And in particular, we're going to talk about how cloud-based architecture is a real bonus and a real plus when you're talking about this kind of educational software. So I want to get into it first, Ismail and Karen, and talk about the cloud-based nature of it and how it addresses IT concerns from the institutional perspective. So for the educational institution, how is cloud-based better than a traditional model?
First, thank you for doing this and for shedding some light on the need for this kind of software. We have been providing pharmacy management applications for quite some time, for decades, to be honest with you. DAA has been at the forefront in providing not only support, but also such an application as pharmacy management for the last, maybe, I want to say 30, 35 years. And certainly, we want to also address the need for those pharmacies to be able to train their technicians, both in terms of using the application, but also to provide a way to increase efficiency within the pharmacy. We know that a pharmacist or pharmacy, when they hire a PTech, certainly it would be a huge advantage for them to know that they already are familiar with using software applications such as ours. Traditionally, and I think this is true with other vendors as well, the approach was to either provide a server machine where the application is installed and used within a pharmacy, or perhaps maybe one step up would be to have what we call a client server setup. So you'd be a server with workstations attached that would then provide access to the application through those workstations to the different technicians and pharmacists. Today, we offer this approach where pharmacists and technicians are able to access the application from anywhere. And this is very accommodating, especially within a learning institution that targets the teaching and training of technicians. To be honest with you, I don't know if any other vendor has such an offering of a cloud-based application. Not only does it help in mitigating their needs for using the application, meaning it will reduce any overhead from their IT to support or to provision any equipment aside from providing internet access to their students. But also most of the application, if not all of the application, is available even outside of the institution. As long as there is an internet connection and a device, whether it be a laptop, for example, or large screen tablet, for example, then the student or the teacher or the institution or the pharmacist is able to access the application and is able to go through the process of managing prescriptions, creating prescriptions, going through the whole process that a pharmacy would need to go through in dispensing a prescription.
Ismail, before we move on to talk a bit more about the benefits for the people who are actually using the software, I want to step back just for a second and talk a little bit more about the institutional level and IT, how this benefits IT departments and the educational or healthcare organizations that need to deploy training software like this. Normal model, like you said, is they have to deploy a lot of infrastructure to support a software install like this. But in this case, there's no intrusive software that has to be hosted by the institution. There's no infrastructure that has to be set up. And then this kind of cloud-based architecture is also going to have a big impact, a positive impact on security as well, correct?
Certainly, and this is something that is truly crucial and important to most institutions and hospitals and IT departments. Being cloud-based, it certainly alleviates the concerns about installing any intrusive software onto their own equipment, onto the school or hospital IT infrastructure, while at the same time also not interfering with their existing setup. So being cloud-based, it reduces also any concern that may be present otherwise if it were a client-server architecture or a local machine about data breaches or security risks. Certainly, this aspect of security, this aspect of alleviating the need for additional resources to be deployed by the IT department, the cloud-based approach enables the IT departments of each institutions to easily deploy it and easily accommodate as many students or as many instructors that they see fit. From that perspective, it certainly is a huge plus for many, if not most, IT departments.
Okay, wonderful. So then moving on to some of the benefits, which I think you were getting ready to touch on, Ismail, some of the benefits within the classroom setting, within an educational setting itself. What are some of the advantages of a cloud-based system for instructors and for students?
I just want to contrast that to the traditional approach with a client server or a standalone system where the instructor or the student has to physically be present within the confines of the institution. Being cloud-based allows for that to still be available should the institution require it, but also it provides that additional degree of freedom where basically it enables students and instructors to access the software remotely 24/7, in fact, via the internet. It allows both in-person students to work on assignments and practice away from campus using any device that may be available, whether it be a desktop or laptop, even a large screen tablet, as long as they have internet access. So it certainly adds this level of freedom, both for the instructors, students, and as well the institutions.
Karen, you have a lot of experience working directly with CPhT training programs and educators. Do you have some practical examples, some real life experience where you've been talking with people and you really come to understand some of the pain points that a cloud-based architecture addresses?
Yeah, and based on what Ishmael was saying, one of the things that I think if you look at it from the cloud-based system, the instructors have the ability to get into the system from anywhere. A lot of instructors have certain times of the year that they get ready for their labs, they go ahead and prepare. That gives them this ability to do this, and they can do this from home, they can do this over the Christmas break, whatever it is. They can go into the system, set up real case scenarios. Say you want to teach medication synchronization, medication adherence. They can use an existing patient in the system, or they can create a patient, completely change the profile, give them a list of medications, refills that haven't been filled. They can simulate text messages so that the patient has to come in and have a conference. They can go ahead and set those kinds of scenarios without ever being at the school. And they can think through those processes, go ahead and get what they're going to do for grading perspectives. It gives them time to do this because it's cloud-based. I know that, like Ishmael was saying, there's no other systems out there that has that flexibility other than this, where they can go in and create all of those real life scenarios. In today's value-based care system, they're going to get training if they go to externship, but instructors are going to be able to prepare them for those scenarios. There's not patient medications involved at the school system, but they get that feedback. They go ahead and get real life feedback. They can get it in the classroom with the student, or they can actually look at those records at home and give them feedback as an assignment as a hybrid course. So that cloud-based system for the instructors is great. Again, on the student side, the students also have that feedback that they can ask for 24/7. They can go in and look at their cases that have been assigned or their simulated prescriptions that's been sent to them, work in their own time period, run reports, anything that they need to do, they can do that from home or wherever they're at on their own time 24/7. So it works really well because of that cloud-based system on both sides.
There's a tremendous amount of functionality and flexibility that comes from the cloud, which I think it should be pretty obvious to anybody who is aware of all of the cloud-based tools that we use every day, the way we interface with them every day. This is a very flexible way to do things. And then one other thing I think I'd like to touch on, if we can, Karen, is that my understanding is that programs are going to have the need to address new content for the pharmacy technician certification exam, the PTCE, starting in January of 2026. Can you explain a little bit more about that? What's new and what the program's needs are?
Sure. The new standards will start January 2026. The domains remain the same. They are medications, federal requirements, patient safety, quality assurance, and order entry. The distribution of the percentages has changed a little bit with more emphasis on medication safety and the quality assurance piece. This software is ideal for that because, again, it can give those real life scenarios and you can follow those domains. And obviously, you can do order processing on a cloud-based server, cloud-based program so that you can put in those case scenarios that we were talking about. It does allow the learner to practice in that simulated environment and actually demonstrate those things that are required in that PTCB, like event reporting, error prevention techniques, medication compliance. The system allows those functionalities to be done in real life scenarios. Students can have those simulated for them and sent as an assignment, or they can go in and create those patient cases based on prescriptions that's been sent to them. They can be uploaded prescriptions, ERX prescriptions, faxed in, just like in real life, whatever that is. They can perform those tasks and then they get the feedback, like we were saying earlier. They need that feedback because if they're going to practice for these tests for PTCB and then practice to handle real patient care when they get to their workplace, they need to know how to handle those scenarios before they ever see a patient in front of them. And that gives them the option of doing that. The other important thing that's changed a little bit with percentages is there's more focus on inventory management. And that's a big thing. There are certifications out there for that. PTCB has one. But again, with the value-based care, we want to make sure that we get them the right medication, the therapeutic equivalent medications, which is also one of the domains. That percentage is a little bigger on that with this new one. And it basically, the system allows the learners to demonstrate the reporting, which is required, the tracking, the supply chain activities, which is another certification specialty that PTCB offers, and controlled substance handling, which is something else they offer. The disposal of medications, the documentation that's required for that, the tracking that's required for that, all of that can be done through this system. And again, it's cloud-based, so it can be set up in real life scenarios based on that teacher's experiences, or maybe a real case that's happened out there that she wants to demonstrate to a student. She can set that scenario up. It may have happened last week. She can set that scenario up next week. So you can't be any more flexible than I love it.
Ismail, if I can throw the ball to you here for a second, from what I'm hearing Karen say about loving that flexibility, you all didn't have to do anything in your software to address these new content needs for programs. The flexibility inherent in the software allows for this already. Is that right?
Oh, absolutely. And we truly are very excited about our product. Certainly, in addition to being the only product out there that offers this kind of flexibility, being cloud-based, and the flexibility for institutions and teachers and instructors and students to use it in ways that truly were not available before. But also the application itself provides an aspect for training that was not available in the past. For example, simulation. We have a way to simulate, for example, insurance responses, simulate electronic prescriptions, faxes. The instructor is able to, in real time, handhold a student, for example, go onto their screen and be able to interact with them in real time. Tools that truly will come in not only very handy for the instructor and for the classroom environment, but truly a huge plus for any institution that wishes to provide a solid training for their technicians. And we were just mentioning only a few features of the application. There are many more, as Karen had mentioned, available within the application.
So there's a real element of future proofing and all this flexibility.
Absolutely. And we've gone through extensive testing to make sure that not only it will withstand the demands of the institutions and instructors and the students, but also for us to be able to provide that kind of level of functionality that would be also open for future enhancements as well.
Thank you. I think this has been very informative for me, certainly, and I hope it will be.